Thank you for tuning in to WEQY 104.7, the voice of the East Side. This is Wesley Wright, your Un-Bougie Foodie. Welcome. Today we'll be talking about food as always, but I'd like to first introduce my guest host, Shannon Twohy. Say hi if you would, Shannon.
Hi, Minneapolis, or in St. Paul, Twin Cities. Wow.
Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
It's really an honor and a pleasure to have you. I know that I know now so many different, or I'm getting to know so many different foodie friends. So yourself included. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you involved, or what do you enjoy about cooking?
Well, I'd say that I started cooking, since I was a toddler. I would sit on the counter and help my mom make dishes and everything. And I'd say that's kind of where I get all my love of food from my mom. She was really big on, if you're going to prepare a food from a different culture, for instance, then you better learn everything you possibly could about where your ingredients are coming from, where, what influenced this and how, I don't know, something changed from, how they make it in America versus the country of origin. It was really cool to learn that from a really, really young age. And so I'd say that's kind of where all of that came from. And then I really use cooking as a de-stressor.
Nice. That's good. Do you have any type of favorite food specifically that you like to cook? I mean, because I know that you are wonderful. You make wonderful desserts. I've had the opportunity to have some. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you like to make, especially desserts.
Well, I was just talking about this, that I use cooking kind of, I have like way too many cookbooks. It's kind of an unholy amount of cookbooks. And so when I'm feeling really, really stressed out, I stress bake.
Okay.
And that could be like, it's in the midnight kitchen, basically. I'll start making cupcakes at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep. And I don't know, I just love to put all those ingredients together. And baking, it's more of a science versus cooking. It's just kind of throw something in a pan and see what happens.
Understood.
I mean, that's a science. So I really love to make desserts for more kind of social experiment, social reasons, to bring it to friends or work. And then, what do I like to bake the most? I don't know. I really like to experiment with kind of weird, unique ingredients in baking. I really got into this cookbook of using Japanese ingredients.
Yes.
in baked goods. So I made a chocolate tart with miso that I think you had.
Was delicious.
And I don't know. So now I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just thinking of miso tart, right?
With the strawberries and everything. Oh my goodness, that was, I when you described it and when you brought it over, and for me, presentation is everything. So the way that it was presented and the aesthetic and the way that it looked was just, I don't want to cut this, but I have to cut it because it just looks delicious. So no, I totally understand, and I appreciate how your attention to detail, the way that the strawberries were positioned in a spiral and so forth. So thank you so much. I know that for the dinner party that we were at, it was very much appreciated and it was beautiful. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. And so then that being said, I think kind of like if I were to pick a genre of food that I love to eat and to cook the most, it would be like Asian food in general. We're talking Indian, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, Thai. It's kind of across the board.
And that's a good thing. I mean, I think giving people the opportunity to try so many different foods is what I appreciate, and especially if there's someone that I know that likes to cook and cooks on a wide variety or wide range, that's much appreciated, because not every. I think I've talked to previous guests, and Carly Matsumoto. Not everybody's taste is the same. So what I might like, you might not like, and vice versa, or we might just have the same liking in whether it be sushi or something on the other. So yeah, I think by having that variety is really important. What is there a favorite food spot that you like to go to? Because I've seen you taking pictures, lady friend. I've seen you taking pictures.
Well, frankly, I feel punished if I don't get to go out to eat 5 times a week minimum. It's like, why am I being tortured? My hot spot right now, which I think I've Instagrammed way too many times.
No, please don't say that.
I love Nighthawks and Birdie.
Yeah,
so,
see.
So good. I am absolutely addicted to the raw vegetable salad.
Oh my goodness.
At Nighthawks. It's amazing. And again, it's kind of this Asian influence because there's a fish sauce base, I think, is the dressing.
Okay.
And so you have these beautiful watermelon radishes and these peanuts where I don't even know what they do to the peanuts. It's just like beautiful. And so perfectly thinly sliced avocado, and it's put in front of you, and I just inhale it.
Have you ever thought about doing probably your own variation of that, maybe at home, or?
I've been toying around with it. I think I just really should ask for the recipe but when I cook at home, I do a lot of vegetable bases.
Okay.
Because I absolutely, give me a bowl of broccoli and I'm happy.
Vegetables. See, I'm there with you. I think mine though is Brussels sprouts. Yeah, mine is Brussels sprouts. So yours is broccoli.
Exactly.
Okay.
Brussels sprouts with some balsamic. Well, I would just straight out drink balsamic vinegar. I'm very Italian in that way.
Oh, that's perfect. What other? Because I know we're talking about food. But are there other interests that you have? I know Instagramming. But I say that because Instagramming is another form of photography, and we share that liking along with food and so forth. But are there, along with taking photos of food and being just out with friends and so forth, are there other things like photography or so forth that interest you?
Oh, well, I'm kind of consider myself a jack of all trades, master of none. By profession, I am a theater artist.
Nice.
So it's directing and acting are my main focuses with playwriting. But I don't know, I just really enjoy kind of the arts. I go to a lot of museums. I do visual arts myself.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. In college, besides theater, I also studied film.
Okay.
So I really watch a lot of movies. And I was thinking about this before coming on the show, about how so many movies have this kind of beautiful presentation of food, and it just kind of permeates throughout our culture. How we always kind of are thinking or talking about food.
Like what we do today.
Exactly. So, because I was recently watching Big Night with Tony Shalhoub and Stanley Tucci, and so it's about these Italian brothers, and their restaurant's going to close, and they're going to make this big spread because it's kind of the celebration, and they bring out a timpano. Which do you know what a timpano is?
I don't know. No.
I don't know the exact way to make it. I've always kind of wanted to make one, and so it's like layers of pasta and meats and sauce in this big, gigantic pan, and it's this beautiful delicacy. And so then I was like, oh yeah, but I really like this other movie that has food, and every Miyazaki movie has the most delicious food. So it's kind of funny how all of my other interests also dip into this food culture.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I look at I guess I've never really paid more attention into the movies and theater, or well, not theater, but movies when they are presenting food. But I see how it is influential when we make certain things, if you would. So, yeah, I could see where that comes into play, and yeah, I could definitely see that. I know you talked about certain ingredients, if you would, not certain, but ingredients that probably would not be the ordinary to use. Are there any other interesting ingredients that you feel that you, aside from the miso, that the tart that you made, are there any other ingredients that you've used in the past that
are really out of the box?
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Well, it's weird because I don't know, coming from Minnesota, I feel like now, it used to be really hard to get something like fresh ginger or some, that would be, you'd have to go, maybe ginger's a poor example, but, you would have to go to 10,000 different grocery stores or go to New York or something.
Right.
And so, what have I used that's really out of the box recently? I don't know, because everything seems kind of normal, even though it's not necessarily normal.
Well, especially if you're a person that cooks a lot, if you're used to getting these different ingredients and so forth, you're like, that's not really out of the ordinary for me, it's just what I go and get,
Exactly. I was on a hunt for fresh lychees for the longest time because they're finally in season.
Right.
And so it was funny kind of talking about unusual ingredients. Lychees, I grew up eating lychees, whatever. And so I was talking to one of my coworkers, and she's like, Shannon, you kind of know a lot of weird food ingredients. And she goes, I used to nanny like 100 years ago, and there were these fruits, and they were white, and I couldn't remember what they were. And I'm like, oh, lychees. And she's like,
yeah.
And so it became this thing now where I'm like, oh, I found lychee chocolate. Here you go. She goes, wow. Oh, my kids got me lychee tea here. So it's a lychee exchange.
There you go.
If you would say so. So lychees have been on the brain lately.
Nice. When it comes to, I suppose, any type of restaurants, is there one that you find that you want to spend more and more time with and learn more about all the different dishes that they have, so that you could probably do your own spin on them and not go back to them, but kind of just
so I never have to go to that restaurant again.
Because it's all about experiences, going out there and so forth, to a restaurant. But sometimes, you want to have your friends and family, taste something. It's like, oh, I've gone to this restaurant and I want to do the same thing and, make it for my family without having to go to the restaurant. I respect a restaurant, for them wanting to have their recipes or whatever. I'm not trying to say like, oh, well, can I have the recipe? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But there are times where you just kind of want to, I had something so good, I want to share it with, friends and family. Is there ever a restaurant, or maybe a dish, I'll say, not a restaurant, because we're not using names. Now, just a dish or something that you could remember that you find, we talked about the salad before, but,
Well, and coming back to that place, I had the most amazing zucchini bread at Birdie. And
okay.
So it was just, yeah. Oh, whoops, maybe.
No, it's fine.
And so it was just kind of like, I'd never had zucchini bread that was so good. I kind of think of zucchini as like a throwaway. I love zucchini, but I think of zucchini bread as a throwaway, where it's like, oh, I'm zucchini, and that's kind of gonna go bad in the crisper. Better make some bread, kind of like rotten bananas.
Oh, no.
Bread. And it was just this life-changing thing, and I appreciate when a restaurant will give a recipe.
Of course.
And granted, I don't think you can ever truly recreate a recipe from a restaurant because they have so many other factors. They have the prep work. They have, all of the elements kind of right there, which is why I could never work in a restaurant. It would be way too stressful, I think.
I understand.
I would be sweating into everybody's food, and it would just be a hot mess.
No. Have you ever worked at a restaurant ever?
No, I could never do it. I appreciate everybody who could, but I think the stress would get to me, and I would probably just want to like take little bites off of everybody's dishes. I'm like,
I like that. That looks good.
That tomato's just perfect. I'm gonna go for that. Granted, I don't do that when I'm cooking at home. I don't have my fingers in the food, but
I use a fork.
Exactly. Don't lick the spatula.
No, exactly. What's the largest group that you've ever cooked for or prepared a meal for?
You know, we always have a big kind of Christmas Eve party. And so back when I was a kid, my father is the middle child of 12 siblings. So huge family on that side. So we would have all the uncles and whatever. I would always help my mom cook, obviously. And then in college, my roommate Bridget and I would always throw these kind of big parties, but it was never like, I don't know, big dishes. It was like a really nice cheese plate, right. And then kind of it was more about the cocktails versus the food. So most recently, I probably have cooked for a group of 8.
Okay.
Which I don't know. It's kind of like dinner parties should be 6 or 8.
I personally have not. I haven't had the pleasure to do that yet. A larger group. I think I've cooked for 2, maybe 4 of my groups of friends, and they're always very gracious and everything. And for me, I'm always like, oh God, no, this didn't turn out the way that I'd like it to. I'm not a perfectionist. There are some out there that are going to say Wesley is a perfectionist. He has to have things a certain way. When it comes to certain things, yes. And then there are other things that I'm like, okay, I will allow some leeway, but they know that he's going to overanalyze things and cause himself some type of issue because that chicken wasn't done correctly. You guys could have it, but I don't feel I could have it because it just wasn't prepared correctly. And I'm not embarrassed by it. It's just like, it's not the same thing as when my parents did it. I know a certain way, and so.
I don't know. Well, I think it kind of brings back, it's both like thrilling to make something for somebody and have the reaction the first time somebody bites into something, but it's also kind of stressful in terms of like, oh, maybe I should have cooked the rice for one more minute, or because when you're cooking for yourself, it's like, oh, I guess I'll just eat this raw potato, whatever. Like, I've eaten worse.
No, I get it, and I'm glad that you also understand that too, and yeah. So I'm smiling on this and quite a bit, and she could confirm this, but it's because I'm thinking in my head what others would actually be saying, and they're, like I said, they at times are very gracious, so I appreciate them for being my guinea pigs. That's what you are. Yes. You're in that wheel. No. So no.
Mind games.
Yes. Well, no, nothing like that. But no, I appreciate them for just being willing to try something. I'll explain it, what it is. I will never go off and tell my friends, oh, hey, yeah, this is beef. And all of a sudden, it happens to be lengua or beef tongue or something like that. And they're like, but am I supposed to be eating it? You didn't tell me what this was. I'm like, I did tell you it was beef. No, you told me. Yeah, you told me it was beef, but you didn't tell me it was this. I will never do that to them, ever. I will always tell them ahead of time, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to prepare it. Like oxtail. I don't know. Have you ever had oxtail?
I love oxtail.
See, have you ever been to, and it was a reminder on the previous show or earlier show, I think it may have been my very first show, Pimento Kitchen.
No.
It's on Eat Street. I believe it's at 23rd, the 23rd block, and Nicolette. Wonderful Jamaican place. Mm-hmm. Their oxtail are how my parents cook it. Let me just put it that way. My father is the cook, if you would, of the family, and I'm kind of following along. But when we do oxtail, or when he's doing any type of dish like that, he's the king of it. So when I went to them and had that, I will refer my friends there and be like, if you've never had oxtail and you want to have something that I know it sounds scary to you, but it's tasty. And when it's done and prepared well, you will want to have more of it. And that's how I feel about this place. So that's a suggestion. Maybe you might take some friends. And again, that's just a suggestion to our listeners out there as well. Again, Pimento Kitchen, very awesome Jamaican place. There are other places that we've talked about. I want to go to Marla's. Have you ever been to Marla's?
No, I have not.
Caribbean spice and heat and jerk and curry and yeah.
I love it. Well, because I am not into Minnesota spicy. Oh, I love heat.
Yeah.
And I have that visceral reaction,
right,
where I can be sobbing and like my nose is running and my face is screaming red and I'm just like, give me more. I don't care.
Okay, so that you bring up I'm going to tell you a little story what happened yesterday. So folks out there, they don't know, yesterday was my birthday. So a number of friends, well, 2 friends, they invited me over, and one specific one, Cecil, I love you, my brother. Cecil's the best. He cooked some links, or brats, I should say, excuse me. And they were Italian, they were spicy Italian. And normally when I have something spicy, my sinuses go crazy. I start to sweat. But literally, I took a bite of this. I started crying. And I don't even know. I didn't even realize I was feeling so much heat and everything rising that my friend, Warren and Cecil, they were the ones that were telling me, oh my goodness, you're sweating. I mean, really sweating. I was like, I don't feel anything. And I felt the top of my head, it was like drenched. But I'm sitting there still eating this broth like, yeah, I can't breathe, but give me more of it. So yeah, I totally understand that. But what is the whole Minnesota spice or heat thing? Because I've heard it. And folks joke about it and say, oh, some Minnesotans, sorry, I'm saying this a little bit too loud, and I live here in Minnesota and live in the city. Ketchup might be too spicy. I'm like, I know they're joking, but some people, what do you feel on that?
Well, I think it comes from, and I'm not Minnesota bashing. Because
Me either.
I'm from Minneapolis.
Here.
I love it. Except I had a friend once who I think I had just put black pepper on a dish. Just to like a dash of black pepper. Takes a bite. Whoa, this is really spicy. I don't know how. And I'm just like, it's black pepper. It's black pepper and salt. You couldn't get any more simple. So it's
and more mild at that.
Exactly. It's anything that has like any slight hint of heat.
Oh my goodness.
And so, I mean, it's a lot of like authentic curries will drive a Minnesotan person wild.
Oh man.
It's way too spicy. And I mean, I think there's a big difference between something so spicy you can't even taste it.
Right.
Which gross.
No, I can't handle it either.
But I just love the nuance of spice, and it's like, give me all. I get it from my dad. I'm a condiment person.
Okay.
So it's like, give me all the sriracha, give me all of the Thai chilies, give me all of the everything on top of it. I know.
Oh boy.
It's bad.
No, it's not. It's just, I think I don't want people to see me in that mode of being drenched while I'm eating food. It's just, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. But then to see other people's reactions is kind of like, okay, just leave me alone. Don't look at me then. I'm eating my food. It's like, yes, I'm sitting here with a towel over my head or whatever. Just keep going. Do what you're doing. And let's just go.
Well, I wouldn't say it's all spicy food, but there's certain things. I don't know if it's like the peppers or if you get just that hint of seeds. Because it can go from 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's like that pleasurable Szechuan heat or whatever. I live for that.
It's that one that's like warms the insides and then starts to go outward, and you're like, I feel it on the inside, and now it's going to the outer portions of my skin.
Well, this is becoming a different kind of show.
No,
Isn't it?
no. I'm just saying, it radiates. I mean, you start to radiate that heat. I mean, if it's a good mild, I guess maybe I'm describing the type of heat that I like. You know, where it starts a little bit warm on the inside, then you're like, oh, it's growing, it's radiating that more and more further as I either eat it or I've ingested it, and okay, maybe it sounds kind of weird. I don't know.
No, I totally know where you're going from. I mean, it's just kind of like one of the fun experience. Like, why would you go for, I don't know, fast food when you can have something with so much nuance?
Right. You know, that brings me to a question. When I go to different restaurants and so forth, I am looking for the mom and pop, or the, what would you say, the out of the norm. I don't want just a franchise restaurant to go to. I want something that is going to be unique either for the neighborhood and maybe even for the city. What do you feel about that?
I totally agree with that. I don't know. I mean, it's very rare that there's like maybe 2 chain restaurants that I go to every once in a while. But I don't know. I'm very supportive of local business.
Right.
I'm very supportive of like local ingredients, even though farmers markets, and I'm going to be sad when farmers market season is over. I mean, it was really funny actually, because I just ran when I went to the state fair, and I ran into, I don't know her name, and I feel really bad, but she's at a bunch of the farmers markets I frequent, and so I saw her and I'm like, oh hey, and it was just like this total, like, I loved that community connection.
Right, exactly.
And she grows the most beautiful cucumbers. It's they taste like cucumbers, which it sounds weird, but there's a lot of times you'll get one at a supermarket and be like, oh, this
kind
is
of bland.
This is nothing. So I don't know. Because I am a millennial.
Okay.
Kim Kardashian vocal fry right there.
Yeah.
I do go to a couple of, I don't know, the like more hip joints. Now I sound like I'm 70, but I don't know. Sometimes I just have no time for hipster nonsense when it comes to food.
I understood.
You know, I want something that isn't, they're not putting on the dog. They're not like acting like this is the most amazing thing. You are blessed to come into my establishment and partake in my food. I have no time for that. I want to like sit down, have it be a welcome environment, and have the food speak for itself.
Exactly. Now, and so you definitely understand and appreciate more about having the food experience and knowing that, okay, like you said, let the food speak for itself rather than all this different fluff and whatnot. And that's what I go for. I don't try to go in looking for the newest and next best thing. I want the food to be good and want to be able to present it to the community or neighborhood and say, hey, this is really good stuff. So it's right in your neighborhood. It might be even just a small drive or something like that, or of the nature. Why not go there? But again, I also want it to be a unique enough place that they're saying, oh, well, yeah, I've been there. Oh, yeah, we went to such and such a fast food or something like that, or a regular restaurant. Oh yeah, we've been to places like that. It's like, I don't think so. Not this place. This is unique. This is different, and I want our community, our neighborhoods to know about them. So yeah, that's how I am.
Well, no, I agree, and I think there's something about that community building. Like I like to go to a restaurant once, and then when I go back again, have a waiter go, "Oh, hi!" Again.
Exactly.
Again, I think that's so important, and That's something I think it's very unique to Minnesota in some ways because of just kind of going to the Minnesota nice, but these local places have that important sense of community, like you were saying.
Yes.
And it's like, honestly, I don't want to go to a restaurant that doesn't remember me. Is that
Exactly.
really narcissistic?
No, well, no. I mean, because you're in a community, or you're a frequent visitor of that establishment and wanting to know that, okay, yeah, I love going here. They have really great food. And if someone says, "Oh, hey Shannon, it's nice to see you back," or "Wes, thanks for coming back and visiting us," or bringing friends along with you. It's like, we appreciate your business, and not just we appreciate your business, but thanks for coming. Showing their appreciation, and they show it in the food.
Yeah.
So that's what I look for, and that's what I appreciate. I want to go into talking about a few of recipes that I prepared this past week, preparing for the weekend, knowing that I'm not going to be cooking anything because I was going to be celebrating my birthday all of this weekend. But anyway, that's not changing. It's just that other situations have occurred that, I need to prepare meals ahead of time so I won't have to worry about, okay, now I have to cook when I go home. But one specific one, which I saw you probably have seen on my Facebook page, the Un-Bougie Foodies Facebook page, is the bacon wrapped pork shoulder. And that bacon, I think everyone comes up with, they'll do their own spin of something that they've seen, a recipe or something that they've seen on a network television show, or maybe in a magazine. There was something very similar to that bacon wrapped pork shoulder roast that I did, but rather than I thought I was doing a cross between a porchetta. I don't know how to do a porchetta yet. I've loved it ever since a friend mentioned or actually introduced it to me or cooked it for me, and they shared it. They shared half of it. I mean, they did this big piece of and they gave me half. And I was like, I have to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have a huge, wonderful kitchen, but, I cook things out of my kitchen. And so this came along and I was like, whoa, this pork shoulder was just so inexpensive. And I said, well, crap, what do I have available? I have bacon. I have, all this. I have thyme, rosemary, all these different other, herbs and ingredients that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money. I'm going to buy this pork roast. I think that pork roast at Cub was less than $5. It was a 3-pound pork roast, and it was like perfect. It was just awesome. I think it turned out great. I won't say what happened to the remainder of the pork roast. Let's just say that it no longer exists. It is no longer in. I mean, it's a 2 or 3. Well, it's a 3-pound pork roast, and you're thinking one person can't eat a 3-pound pork roast. Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Well, I guess the mystery of the pork roast.
Well, yes, they can. Yes, they can. I'm serious. I'm like, I didn't have anything else with this pork roast. I didn't have. Facebook does show that I did asparagus, and that was, I'll touch on that too. I did asparagus and Brussels sprouts. Those were roasted, but that was day 2 after, initially cooking the pork roast. So let me go into the actual recipe of what I prepared. So again, and you can find this recipe on the Un-Bougie Foodies Facebook page as well. But again, it's the bacon wrapped pork roast, or pork shoulder roast. It was a 3-pound pork shoulder. The ingredients were 3 garlic cloves that were minced, 6 to 8 bacon slices, 2 teaspoons of coarsely chopped rosemary, 1 teaspoon of chopped thyme, a teaspoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and 1 medium onion, and also a half bell pepper. I like bell peppers, and I wanted to have something to mix in with the onion, so I added that. And then, of course, salt and pepper. And then if you have kitchen twine, that will also help to make sure that, it stays into place. But basically, it is just simply the preparation of this pork roast was really simple. Trimmed off some of the fat from the shoulder, just leaving a thin layer to give it some flavor. I don't know how you feel about. I don't trim up all the fat off of the meat.
What do you? Then you lose so much of the juiciness.
Right, exactly. And over the years, I learned that as well. So to hear that, hey, leave some fat on some of your meat. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you can, it will some cook off, some, especially if you're leaving a thin layer, but still it adds that flavor and whatnot. So basically, as the rest of the recipe, indicates, you would actually drizzle a half of the olive oil on the shoulder, and then you would season the shoulder with salt and pepper, and then half of all the aromatic herbs, and as well as the garlic. The aromatics meaning the rosemary, the thyme, those main two, and then of course the paprika and so on. And then you would put it in the refrigerator for about an hour, and just kind of like let it sit for 1 hour prior to the cooking time. And then you start to prepare like your oven, making sure that it's preheated. But all of the information is found on the website, so you could certainly read or learn out the rest of the cooking process, which just includes the prep on placing it in the pan and browning it and so forth. But make sure to check that out again on the website. That is the bacon wrapped pork shoulder roast, and that can be found on the notes page of the Un-Bougie Foodie. So make sure if you want to try it and leave a message and say how it turned out for you. Mine turned out well. I'm not saying, some people might go ahead and use that. Like I said, I use that as a foundation, looking at from other recipes and saying, what do I feel I want this dish to taste like, and that's what I do. I'm quite sure that there are others out there who feel that same way about using it as a foundation. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I will follow a recipe only to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's different with baking, because that you have to kind of be very precise, or else you have some really flat, sad cakes.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm always kind of loaded. Like, if they say 1 teaspoon of cumin, I'm like, here, let's put 4, because it's all about the flavor. But the bacon wrap. That sounds really fantastic. It looked beautiful.
Thank you. I hope somebody else tries it, or any of you of my listeners out there tries it and gives it a go. And please let me know how yours turns out. I mean, I love the color. I love how it stayed moist. I mean, it was just delicious. And like I said, it helped for what I ate for the remainder portion of the week. I did those roasted asparagus and Brussels sprouts. Again, those were simple, because that was just, preparing. If you're familiar with preparing asparagus, it's just making sure you're snapping off the harder ends of the asparagus, and then drizzling that with olive oil, salt and pepper, a little light salt and pepper. And then for my Brussels sprouts, pretty much the same thing, but I cut them in half, drizzled it a little bit with olive oil. Did some light drizzle of balsamic vinegar, and then a few sliced cloves of garlic, and then roasted that for about 20 minutes in the oven. I sliced up the pork roast. I cut that bad. Well, when I say badly, I sliced, I think there was about 8 or 9 slices, and I did that. But I ate like 3. Yeah. It was delicious. I loved it. So again, please, someone out there, please, if you would, give me some feedback and let me know what you're thinking, how it turned out for you. Another recipe which I had been doing. Do you like salsa? I
love salsa.
Okay. Being that we're friends, we know each other now, we're acquaintances. I would love to one day make some salsa and then hear your opinion on it. But I have been doing salsa for quite some time, and I went to, this was I think a couple of years ago, when I went to a cooking class that was being hosted by Cooks of Crocus Hill in St. Paul. And the salsa, they refer to it as salsa Mexicana. And I had been doing my salsa, if you would, for quite a while before going to Cooks. But everything seem to be, it's a smaller portion. I always do mine in larger portions because at work, people want to have it, and I put a lot of stuff in it, a whole lot. And so it permeates, the office at times, because I put fresh garlic, which I want to touch on that, because I don't know if what did you know that there are a variety of garlic that are out there? I mean, I don't want to sound uneducated about that, but I thought it was just garlic. I didn't know. I mean, I was maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, a friend introduced me to a gentleman that went to farm, or would actually be at the farmer's market. He was the garlic man. Mm-hmm. And he introduced me to a number of different garlics. He said that he has about 60 variations of garlic. 60. And I'm like, wow. Did you know that there was like possibly a wide variety like that?
Well, I think to a certain extent, maybe I didn't like think in my head, but I mean, if you think of like heirloom varieties,
okay,
or I mean, there's elephant garlic, there's purple garlic,
right?
I mean, I guess it's not. I don't go to sleep at night thinking about garlic, but I mean, it's kind of amazing how many crossbreeds there can be, or this, or certain seeds that are hundreds of years old that create beautiful garlic plants now.
Right.
Yeah.
There were two that, and I'll go back to where I was going with the salsa, but there were just two that he touched on, or that he gave me 2 bulbs that was, it was Georgia Fire and In Chilean Red. And these garlics, I've used regular elephant garlic in making my salsa, but once I made that change into using those other 2, or the variations of the other 2, I think it took my salsa making to a different level. But I just can't find them anymore, and I can't find someone out there. Please tell me where the garlic man is. I know he's in Farmington, Minnesota, or he has a farm there, but I haven't seen him at the farmer's market, and I hope that he still has access to those types of garlics,
to the good stuff,
to the goods.
Yeah,
I need them.
It has to be the great garlic search of 2016.
That probably before the end of the year is out or something.
You can make whoever finds the garlic man salsa.
Oh my gosh. See, you're already putting it out there. That's fine. You could find it. I will make it for you.
Known.
I know. Let the word be spoken. Yeah, anyway, back to the actual salsa mexicana. The recipe for that, it's a small recipe, but it's small enough for you to, for your family. You won't really waste it. It's different when you have to make it for a group of about 50 people where, anyway, it's got to be a whole lot of tomatoes and stuff. In this case, it makes about 3 cups. So you start off with 6 Roma tomatoes. You finely chop them. 1 small onion, also finely chopped, and then 2, if you like chilies, like specifically serrano or jalapeno, you could add 2. For me, I like to add like 1 jalapeno and 1 serrano because I like that heat. And then if I really want to bring out the flavor even more and spice it up more, is to add 1 habanero chili and 1 Thai chili. I know that sounds like a lot. I'm not suggesting it for this, but because you want your family to be able, and friends to be able to enjoy it without saying, I need water. I feel like I've just eaten the sun. The next ingredients you want to add is 1/3 of a cup of loosely packed cilantro. Not everybody likes cilantro, so again, that could be to taste. You want to roughly chop that. And then 1 to 2 limes, making sure that you have those juiced. And then you would salt, and I would say add some pepper to taste. You mix all of that together. You add the salt, and then again, adjusting whatever seasonings that you feel you need to, so that it's palatable for you or for your family. Or if you want some more heat, add some more serrano, or any of the other chilies that you feel comfortable with. But again, it's a simple recipe. I will make that available on the Un-Bougie Foodie website or Facebook page as well. So please feel free to utilize that and give me your feedback on that. Although this is one from Cooks of Crocus Hill, I also have my own recipe that I use on for a larger amount. So if you'd like that, please feel free to get in contact with me by email at theunbougiefoodie@gmail.com. Once again, that's theunbougiefoodie@gmail.com. Make sure that you're also following us or following me. There's only one Un-Bougie Foodie. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at @the_Un-Bougie Foodie and on Twitter at Un-Bougie Foodie. We are going to be coming to a close, or are coming to a close. Shannon, I want to thank you so much for being here. And again, as I mentioned, it's been an honor having you. I didn't even ask you, are you going to stay with us for the whole entire time? I just assumed it.
I just feel at home here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much. Again, we are about to come to a close, but I want you all to remember that you have been listening to the Un-Bougie Foodie on WEQY 104.7, the voice of the East Side. Get out there and enjoy food, and know that it is not about the type of foodie that you are, but again, it really is about the food that you're enjoying and the experiences that you're actually having. It's with family, friends, whomever. Once again, don't let anyone put you in that box or try to tell you what type of foodie you are, because as I've said, once again, it is all about the food. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure that you tune in for next week, as we'll be talking more about foods, and I'll have another guest host. His name is James Lacatz. So James, looking forward to having you on. Before I go, I want to also say shout out to our friends in Las Vegas, specifically Demetria Bonner. Happy birthday, my sister. Thank you so much again for your listening, and peace.